So you mentioned the hate and those kinds of things. So I wanted to talk to you about that. Do you feel like, is that like, oh, they just don't know anything and you ignore it and it's unimpactful? Or does it, again, put a chip on your shoulder or motivate you more in some way to go win again?
So yeah, it motivates me more to win again, but I viewed it a different couple ways.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another Tour Talks, the Virtual Bowling Supply YouTube channel. These have been growing and doing really well. We can't thank you guys enough for all the support. Today, we have maybe one of the hottest names in bowling right now, David Boog Krol. Anytime you get a new titleist, a new name on the scene, there's always an opportunity there. And when it gets combined with, all of these kind of factors, the it factor, likability factor, it's really cool. And I happen to be friends with Boog over the years, and I'm super excited to have him. So for those of you that don't know, basically in 2022, he had a couple top 16s in the World Series of Bowling, as well as at the Masters. And then in 2023, you could start to see him start to have a breakout year. He threw 31 strikes in a row at the Wichita event. He had 4 300s and 2 800s in a single regional. I was really happy one day when I bowled a 300 at just one 300 at a regional. I can't imagine having 4 and 2 800s in a single regional. But yeah, last year he had 3 regional titles, accomplished all that. And now this year in 2024, no surprise to me, he just won a national title. And I'm excited to talk to you about that whole journey, man. So how are you? How have you been? And also, for those of you that don't know, he worked for Virtual Bowling Supply for 4 months.
I did.
He moved out here and to Arizona. He was pretty far away from home. He worked at our Bolero Mesa location. I think we only had maybe 1 or 2 locations at that time.
I think he had 3.
3, yeah. But so I can't wait to talk to you about that a little bit as well. But how are you, man? You're finally back home. How are you? How have you been?
Thanks for having me on. Things have been chaotic, to say the least. The season's been wild. It's been completely life-changing. It's been incredible, humbling. It's been everything this year.
Yeah. And I want to kind of know how you feel about winning, but before that, to me the journey's a lot more interesting than the title,
Mm-hmm.
And that's often the case in sports. The process and the journey is kind of more interesting than the result. The title's amazing; it's what you work for, but the journey there. And so I'm curious, along this way, especially because you started two-handed kind of younger, right? How long have you been using the two-handed delivery?
Since age 2 or 3.
Yeah, exactly. So you were one of the kind of originators when it wasn't popular. I'm sure there's many people who are trying to correct you. Have you had any moments throughout your career where you thought, like, maybe I can't do this, maybe I'm not wired for it, maybe I need to be doing something else? Or have you always been like, this is what I'm going to do and nothing's going to stop me, or something in between?
Yeah, so I've always been two-handed. I've never thought about throwing it conventional or like a traditionalist.
Mm-hmm.
I've always done different things. For a little bit, I had my thumb in it. I had my thumb in the ball like Sean Maldonado for years. It was
okay.
Not until probably 2019, 2020, so I took my thumb out of it.
Okay.
So my whole career, I had like a 3-inch span. Everything was cockeyed, and it was just weird. And it kind of limited me on layouts and stuff like that. And then got to a point where I felt like I needed to change something. And the only thing I've done this probably last, let's say, 10 years is take my thumb out.
Got it. Now, in terms of pursuing being a professional bowler, have you had any moments where you felt like, I don't think I have what it takes to be that good? And what were those moments like, I guess? Or have you always just felt like, no, this is me, I'm going to make it happen?
I've always wanted to be a professional bowler ever since I was a kid. But around like when I got my card in 2016, I bowled the World Series in 2017, 2018. And I wasn't cashing. I wasn't like doing the best. I was always finishing the bottom half. And I just was like, man, is this really for me? Do I really want to work all this time, save up all this money, and just keep donating it? And, it got to a point where I wanted to quit bowling. And then COVID hit, and I dropped my contract with Motive and just really was like considering everything. I was like, man, is this what I want to do? And I sat back and was like, I put so much time and effort into this game where I just can't give it up.
Yeah.
I had to give it another shot, and I gave it my all in the last, we're in 2014, 2024 right now. So the last like 8 years have been just going at it.
Just grinding.
Yeah.
Grinding. So it sounds like, do you feel like then COVID maybe allowed you to have a little bit of a reset?
Absolutely. Gave me a reset, got to just view everything at a different angle. I was basically viewing it at a monetary standpoint instead of like what I really enjoy doing. I was just doing it for the money at that point. And now I'm doing it because I actually love it.
It's so awesome. So earlier today, I did another tour talk with Mark Baker. That'll be coming out after yours. And we talked a lot about that. I was asking him what he felt like was the difference between getting people from like good league bowler to good regional to good national. And he mentioned exactly that. He said that, the really good players, it's very hard to do it for the money. And the really good players really just love to compete. Anyways, but you guys can check that tour talk out later. So what I'm curious of, it's kind of cool that COVID was that reset that allowed you to maybe rethink about it, almost forced you to take time off. Yeah. Which I know sometimes, like for me, I know when I was trying to see how good I could be, the idea of taking time off feels almost like quitting, or like giving up on your goal. And I could see COVID actually for, someone like myself when I was in that path anyways, being like a forced time to reflect and think about it and not just do.
Because I was bowling every weekend. I was grinding every weekend. Any event that I could bowl, I was bowling. But COVID is like, okay, you're done. You have to take 6 months off to really consider everything.
Yeah.
Like bowling events didn't feel the same.
Right.
Getting to a point now where things are normal and I wanted to commit everything to this. And the mindset changed.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And so I guess my question is once you kind of got into it and you said you've really been kind of 8 years now since 2016, what do you feel like now that you kind of have a better idea of what does it take to win at that level? What are the things that you think came natural to you that as you're going, you're like, oh, that guy can't do, maybe what I can do? And what are the things that you felt like you really had to work on, whether it be physical or mental or anything? What's up, guys? Just a quick message to say that if you like bowling videos like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button. As always, we appreciate the support so much. We're growing quickly and we can't thank you enough. Now let's get back to the interview.
It's all been mental for me. I think I've always had the ability to strike with the best, but it's just not having that confidence in myself to be out there. I would question everything. Like, do I need to make this move right now? Do I need to make this ball change right now? I just didn't have that confidence in me. And after last year, 2023, and having that success on the regional tour and the national tour, it kind of just gave me all the confidence to, hey, full time this year, you're going to commit everything to this. And I had a pretty good year last year. So I had the financials to just take off for 4 months out of the year to fully commit to this.
Got it. Okay, cool. So it was really just the confidence factor. Did you have to kind of change your thought process in any way to get more confidence? Or was it like, okay, this is my decision, I'm moving this ball, this part of the lane, and you just don't second guess yourself anymore? Or like, did you change anything, I guess, in your process to get that confidence?
I just saw the results. Like I continually saw results and just started believing in myself. Like, okay, I've had enough people come to me and be like, hey, you are good enough to be on tour and strike with the best. But I never saw that in myself.
Right.
I never believed in myself. But after Wichita, Jackson, the 3 regionals this year, the RPI, and I just like, I have to give it a chance. I can't live my life saying, what if I didn't do this full time? What if I just was a weekend warrior? I just had to take a chance.
Yeah, totally. I think to me, if I was to try to frame that in a way for the viewers that actually aligns with like coaches like Mark and others that I've talked to, it's it's almost like you put in the reps and the time, you're slowly learning things, even at a subconscious level. And then, then finally you put enough reps and enough time in, enough resilience, enough commitment, you start to see the results. And then that brings confidence, And so the real testament there is resilience and patience and not giving up, which is, I think, probably why everyone loves your story a little bit. I mean, why do you think, it's a weird question to answer about yourself, but do you have any reasons as to why you think so many people kind of love your story and are rooting for you?
I think it's just because like the dark horse or like underdog factor is like, this kid just showed up. I've been kind of under the radar for the last couple years, and they're actually seeing my name now on the leaderboard and seeing my name in like PTQ standings. And oh, he led this block. He's in the 6th in the US Open, just making cuts here and there and just seeing that new name on top of everything.
Yeah. There's definitely that factor as well. I'm always curious to, I was watching recently like a house video, and I think Kevin was giving you a hard time, like to make an adjustment that's like the size of you, like a really small.
Yeah.
And it was very clear that you're, pretty insensitive to any short jokes,
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, at any point in your bowling career, has that aspect served as like a chip on your shoulder or any sense of motivation where you feel like people doubt you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm the shortest person probably on tour, and people just haven't taken me seriously over the last couple of years. Like, oh yeah, it's Boog. He does it part-time. He'll strike here and there, but he doesn't do it full-time.
Right.
And so it got to a point where it's like, do I want to prove them wrong? I do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
This isn't being released till after the draft, because today is the last day for the wire, and I have a phone call, and this just fuels the fire even more for the rest of the year.
Got it. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, and I love that. And for me personally, I feel like that's the real difference maker between those players is that there's these things that really put a chip on your shoulder and really motivate you,
Yeah.
And I remember bowling with you at the TAT when I was bowling more often, and I thought I was a pretty good bowler. And it was your first year bowling. You were quite a bit younger than me and a lot of people there. And you were so confident. And I remember talking to Timmy Mack at that time, and I was like, man, that kid's going to be good, because like I had been bowling the TAT forever. And at that point, it was probably like my 15th TAT or something like that. I mean, I bowled 15th year bowling the TAT. Like I've been bowling it since I was like 16. And I was so used to people coming in and bowling their first TAT and knowing kind of what their nonverbals were like. And their nonverbals in general, energy was kind of, this is new, it's intimidating, there's a lot of people, this is a big event. And you did not have that at all. And I remember talking to Timmy Mack and going like, that dude's got a chip on his shoulder. He's got, he's got that it factor, which, I talk about with Haugen in another tour talk. But anyways, so I could see that. And I hope for you, knowing you, I hope you continue to prove them wrong, man. And I know you will. But going to that now, so you have all of those things, all of those factors, 8 years grinding, people maybe not taking you as seriously as they should because you're a smaller guy. How does it feel now to get the win? I mean, how does it really feel? Is there any like particular thing that you really like enjoy about it?
So it hasn't really like sunk in. It just happened so quick. One moment I make the cut. Cool. Love that. We're making money. We're getting points for the year. Bowling Tommy Jones, best of 7. He made his Hall of Fame career based on that format. I've never bowled best of 7 in a national tour event. All new to me.
Right.
We go to 7 games. Very close. 7 games. I move on. I bowl the best player on the planet right now, EJ Tackett.
Yeah.
Again, hottest guy right now, 5 shows in a row. You can't beat him. I took him to 7 games, had 277 to make my first TV show. And then, so Saturday we're off. And then Sunday, my first TV show. It was just so fast how everything happened. Then the show happens, the most controversial show probably in PBA history.
Definitely up there for sure.
It was insane. All the hate. And then we drove straight home, 16 hours on Sunday and Monday. Got home Monday morning at like 7 a.m. And I slept all day Monday.
Yeah, I would too.
Tuesday went straight to work. Like, it was just crazy how everything happened. Hasn't really sunk in yet, but
so that's interesting. So when you got back, you rested, and then you went back to your normal full-time job, part-time job?
Full-time job.
Yeah. And so that's just kind of incredible to me. That is so unique to being a professional bowler, that you commit to being one of the best in the world at this, and then sometimes you come back and you go back to your full-time job. Truly, insane. So you mentioned the hate and those kinds of things. So I wanted to talk to you about that. Do you feel like, is that like, they just don't know anything and you ignore it and it's unimpactful, or does it again put a chip on your shoulder and motivate you more in some way to go win again?
So yeah, it motivates me more to win again. But I viewed it a different couple ways. Like at the first time, I was like, what do they want? Do they want me to give the game back to Bill and have him take on Thomas to win? No, I'm never in that situation, or anyone's going to be like, here, give this up. You don't deserve it. He bowled a better game. No, never. I knocked down the most pins that game. Went to roll off. I struck when I needed to. I moved on. But on the other side, I don't have to defend that title either way. Like at the end of the day, I won, and either they want to believe it or they don't. I think I was the best bowler that week in that field.
Yep. Yep.
So
because you won. I mean,
yeah.
you won. And so that's the other part for me. That's, since it's really been in your shoes, do you feel like there actually are quite a bit of people who are kind of very negative or hating, or do you feel like there's a really small few of bad apples that just get way too much attention?
I think bowling is one of the worst sports because of bowlers. There's so much negativity. Nobody wants to grow the sport in a positive way.
Right. Sure.
Anything on social media will blow up just because of negativity. No one's happy that a first timer won their first title. They just saw how they did it, and they're not happy with someone. They just want to talk about the negative, and it's ridiculous. It's probably the worst thing for our sports.
Sure. It's definitely frustrating. How do you think, as consumers may be watching this that maybe think, man, I add to that fire sometimes. I add fuel to that fire of negativity. How do you think we should all, you being the player, right? You being kind of the fodder, the cannon fodder, so to speak. How do you think we should think about how discussion or debate brings like attention and interest to the sport versus, being really negative or mean? Does that question make sense?
Yeah, I think it should be positive. There should be some criticism, but not all criticism, negativity. Like there's a positive to every situation, I think.
Right.
I won my first title. That's very good for TV, very good for myself. Like this is life-changing for myself. And then the negativity is like, why would you want to beat someone down for winning their first title and belittling him so much?
Exactly.
And it just doesn't make any sense. Like there's got to be more positivity in our group of bowlers.
Yeah.
And just people don't see that.
Yeah, totally. If I maybe was trying to re-say kind of what you said, maybe it's like, debate and discussion is good, but have it in a more nicer, spirit. If someone gets really disrespectful or really mean-spirited, that's where I think it goes from healthy debate or discussion to just angry, and miserable. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah.
So obviously going all the way from, a brand new bowler to a national titleist, there's all kinds of people you meet along the way. Mm-hmm. And is there anybody who are the people that you feel like you owe the most thanks to that have kind of helped you get there, whether it's coaches or ball reps or family or friends or anything?
So my wife has done the most for me. Like she has supported me 100% on tour. She takes care of the house while I'm gone. She works a full-time job to help. If she's like, if you don't make any money, we're fine. Like
that's amazing.
Yeah, she is truly amazing. Kevin Williams watched every PTQ game this year, has ball rep me 100% on that. When he's not bowling and I'm bowling like in a cut, he'll ball rep me.
Dino's awesome. I don't know Kevin that well, but I know Dino really well, and he's the man.
Yeah, he's my guy on tour. Him and Jason Worsner are amazing. And then Mike Dole, he gave me this opportunity to be on Hammerstaff. He took a risk on me, and hopefully it's paying off. So he gave me my.
That's cool. Is there any real nuggets you've gotten from any of these guys, either on the physical game, mental game, ball motion side, that has really stuck with you? That's really kind of changed how you think about things or process things?
Yeah. So rooming with Kevin is like being a part of the house on YouTube. So the house is full of PBA Tour champions, Chris Vi, Packy, Kevin,
right?
More. Mm-hmm. Like all that insight and knowledge or like advice they can give me has been truly amazing and helped me so much this year. I made the Wichita match play. I've never bowled match play 24 games like that. ever. And I was like, what should I expect? Like, I have 24 games across 3 days. What do I do? And you're like, just take it one game at a time. And that gave me helpful hints. Like, you can't win it in game one. Like, it doesn't matter. Just get as many pins as you can. And that advice they have and the knowledge and the veterans of the tour really has helped me this year.
So it sounds almost like, you know, when the entire situation can maybe become like a lot, maybe too much, and you kind of start to drift off. And I think I saw this a little bit in that house video with Kevin, where you can start to ruminate or think too much, or, you know what I mean? That really their experience and the fact that they're in it kind of brings you back down to earth and allows you to kind of settle. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, they just clear the mind. They tell me relax, and they're like, you got this. Just start breathing. And they start like conversations with myself and just keep my mind off the whole process.
Yeah, totally. I remember for me, when I was bowling the TAT one year and I was bowling really well, and I was talking to a couple friends the entire time through most of the rounds.
Yeah.
And then they left. They're like, oh, hey, we got to go. And then I wasn't talking to them, and I just had, it was just, and I bowled terrible. It was just, it's so funny how the mind works in that particular way, that if you have some friends, those people there to help keep you grounded. Now, so you've obviously went through the ranks. You won at the regional level a year, and then you got there. Just from your personal experience, what do you think is the difference maker from being a really good local guy to becoming successful in the regional tour and then becoming successful in the national tour? Like, what do you think are the characteristics?
I think it's all about believing in yourself and like trying the regionals and figuring out what the transitions are. Because when you go from league to like a city tournament, it's going to be pretty similar because you're competing with the same guys you see in your city. But if you go to a regional, you're going to see guys that travel around who are weekend warriors and are just bowling to make money on the weekends. And the moves and transitions are completely different than like where you see at league and where you see at a regional tournament.
Right.
And just those stepping stones and just learning those will help you immensely. But from the regionals to the national tour, everything is night and day different. Like,
can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. So transitions happen so quicker on tour because the best bowlers will get to a certain part of the lane where they are comfortable and where they can strike the most from. So, and it also depends who you're following. Checking the squad sheet and see who you're following game by game really helps a lot. And that's where I've seen like the most benefit this year is where I'm actually checking the squad sheets now and seeing, okay, game 3, who I'm following, game 2, who I'm following, and just making like guesses off that. Because no pair has been the same this year. Like to my
sure,
it's always been like, okay, I'm following EJ, I'm following Belmo or someone. You're gonna move 5 or 7 guaranteed. It's not ever gonna be 1 or 2 like a city tournament or league. Like you're making zone changes every game.
Wow.
And you just got to be ready for that. You got to commit to that and throw it well enough where like, okay, I got a good read off that.
Right. That makes sense. Mark, when I was talking to Mark Baker, he mentioned something in terms of going between those levels that he said that like right when you start, say bowling regionals or national tour, at the beginning, you're going to have an event where you bowl like 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 down or whatever. And the best guys there are going to be bowling 200, 300 over. And you just immediately think to yourself, there's no way I'm good enough to do this.
Yeah.
But he was saying, you know, you keep going. And then you'll have an event where you're 200, 300 over and those guys struggle and they're 50 down. And you go, oh, wow, maybe I can do this. Do you feel like that's pretty true? Did that happen for you?
Yeah. So whenever I'm bowling an event and I know I'm out of it, like there's no possible mathematically way I can make a run and make a cash spot or cut. Those last few games are so important to your process and what you're being able to learn because you're never going to be able to practice that. The actual setting of a regional or national tour event, you can't practice that at your home center. Right. Those games where you take chances and learn, and you might shoot 140, but you're learning for next time. And if you're in the same situation.
Yeah, no, I think that's great advice. It's very easy to give up and just throw in the towel and be like, you know, that's where if you're money oriented, like we were talking at the beginning, you might go, oh, I can't get a check, I'm going to throw it up, you know, but if it's about becoming the best competitor you can be, then you're like, okay, how can I get some more some more information out of this. So I guess, what are your next goals now that you're a national titleist? And well, there's two-part question. Let's start off with that. What are your goals? What do you hope everything looks like in 5 years or 10 years from now?
Hopefully I can scale back from the full-time job a little bit and just make enough bowling on tour and a regional program to sustain my easy life. That's what I would want the most. I don't really enjoy working for someone. I like working for myself and making my own boss and my own hours and kind of stuff like that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Doing that, I would like to stay in the top 20 for the next 5 years. That would be absolutely insane. And I think that would lead to a somewhat great career. But for this year's top 16, I want to make the playoffs really bad, since I'm kind of being overlooked for this whole PBA league wire thing. Just have the extra chip on my shoulder and be like, yo, you guys missed out.
Yeah, exactly. No, I love that. I love that mentality because, as you probably know, you probably hear both sides. I mean, I know for me, I hear both sides. Some people will react to that and be like, oh, it's not fair. It's political. It's, essentially they're the victim.
Yeah.
And you can turn, the old adages is every problem's an opportunity. And you can say, okay, fine. Like, I see this, and so I love that aspect about you. And that's always been, even when you worked for Virtue, which leads me into the next question, which is, there are many, many routes for people that love bowling. You work in a bowling center as an example. So there's working in a bowling center, there's coaching, there's the pro shop, there's competition, there's selling commercial equipment, there's working at distributors. Talk to me a little bit about your time working in a pro shop, and be honest with me, right? Because I want other people who maybe love bowling to hear this. So I want you to be honest. What about that experience did you maybe like? What did you not like? And how did it help you know pro shop's not for me? And how did it maybe help you know competition is for you?
So I wanted to give it a shot. I've never ran like a shop by myself, always been like the secondhand help. And I'm more of a competitor over a business owner or pro shop help.
Right.
I enjoy helping people enough to where like they feel confident with like asking for me for suggestions or stuff like that. But I think being around the bowling products that much really kind of got to me and kind of took me to a different area where I didn't want to be. I'm more on the athlete side, the bowling side, professional side.
Yeah.
Along the lines, instead of being the pro shop, I'm drilling your bowling balls, getting lessons done. Like I think in a few years I'll start doing that. I just haven't been certified or anything like that.
Sure.
But I don't think me having that knowledge and that was like the right move for me.
Sure. And at the end of the day, I mean, maybe even when you go as far back as when you were out here, which I think was like maybe 2014-ish, maybe?
Yeah, 2015, I think.
Yeah, 2014, 2015. I mean, maybe at that moment too, you're kind of like, okay, I don't have all the tools I need to be the player I want to be. I don't have all the tools I need to be the coach pro shop operator, but you feel a natural calling towards like, no, this is what I want to be.
Yeah.
So would you say, because always what I'm trying to do is pick out things to kind of help give our viewers. Would you say that at that point you kind of idolized or admired more a really great bowler as opposed to a really great coach or a great pro shop operator?
Yeah, I think I was more in line to be the bowler. Like Mark Baker and those guys are incredible for what they do. Like they have a special place.
Yeah.
That's just like Mark Baker, like last week before Delaware, I was like, hey, I want to see about getting lessons and see if you have any open availability before the Masters. And I didn't do it. I'm like, I just.
Yeah. But it sounds like you, if it's like who you're choosing to aspire to, it's a lot more exciting for you to aspire to a Tommy Jones than it is to a Mark Baker. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of what I pick up from people in your situation who are talented, could do a lot of different things in bowling. Mm-hmm. And maybe for viewers, who would you like to aspire to be? Try to make sure you meet all of those people. Meet a great bowling center manager who like knows everyone that walks through their door. Yeah. Meet a great coach that's just incredible and can inspire you, and meet a great player. And you'll find if you spend enough time with those people, there's one that you're like, man, I want to be like that guy.
Yeah.
And
strength of being like a professional bowler, but the ideas have gone back and forth throughout my time on this planet. So it's always like professional bowler. Then like, oh, I can probably just do it for money and make a couple of $1,000s every weekend. But now we're back to, I want to build a legacy and be like I don't want to say a Hall of Fame career because I don't want to base like my goals off that. But be good enough where I can just do what I want when I want.
Yeah, I love, speaking of legacy, I love you leaning into the name Boog. I think I even saw you have like a Boog logo.
Yeah, we made a Boog logo this year.
Yeah. So was that, did you come up with a logo? Are you working with someone or?
Worked with a guy I found, and
cool.
I wanted to do BK for a Boog Krol, but Brad and Kyle already have that.
Ah, that makes sense.
So they came out with new merch while I was making my logo, and they had BK, and I also was doing BK. I was like, cool, I can't do that. So we came with different ideas, and that's one that stuck.
Yeah, that's cool. How did you get the nickname Boog?
My mom gave it to me growing up. I was a cute little booger, I guess, and then started crawling. I was an ornery little booger.
Yeah.
And up without any hesitation to change. So
yeah.
Through my youth career, my high school, I was voted best nickname in high school. So it wasn't just me bowling that got the name. It was just my whole life.
Yeah, it's your whole life. No, it's so cool. It's a great thing, I think, from a branding marketing standpoint. And if I can ever help with anything on that side, or Virtue can help with anything on that side, let me know. But you're obviously already in, plenty good of hands. That pretty much wraps it up for me, Boog. I can't thank you enough for taking the time, man. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are wanting to kind of get to know you more and pick your brain more after winning. So thanks for making time for us today, dude.
No problem. Anytime. And sorry about the whole timeline. Like, it was just hard to schedule this.
Yeah, no, you're fine, man. I'm flexible. You're the one in demand, so you're allowed to be however you need to be, man. So I appreciate it, but thanks for joining us, man.
Hey, no problem.
We hope you found this video useful. As always, if you like videos like this, make sure you hit subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.